Hi, everyone. My name is Anand Sundaram. I'm a director with Microsoft Azure. Welcome from wherever you may be joining us. I'm excited to talk with you today about the key investments we are making to help you move confidently to Azure. At Azure, we are by your side to help you navigate the evolving macro environment so you and your organization can achieve more. We want to help you achieve the following outcomes: more efficiency by moving to Azure, more returns from optimizing your cloud investments, unlocking more innovation using the latest technologies so your organization emerges stronger. Let's now click into what we are doing specifically to help ease your move. So today, we will talk about three key investment areas. Number one, proven guidance that connects you back to the business outcomes that you're looking to drive through our cloud adoption framework and well-architected framework. Number two, we'll talk about some free tooling in Azure Migrate that helps simplify and automate your move when you're looking to do it yourself. And three, when your migration project requires expert assistance, we have a comprehensive program, the Azure Migration and Modernization Program, or AMP, which can help you wherever you are in your cloud adoption journey. Now, let's take a closer look at each of these. Let's start with best practice guidance. Now, you can take your on-premises workloads and define a couple of paths based on your organization's key drivers, or we call them triggers. The first path is typically triggered by a need for IT efficiencies. We actually see many of you running into time-sensitive situations like data center contract expiry or a hardware refresh cycle, or your software might be reaching end of support. These are all great opportunities to save money and make your data center operations much more efficient. This is when we see customers choosing cloud migration as the first step that helps them experience the benefits of the cloud without introducing too much workload level change all at once. And customers who've migrated use this time to build core cloud skill sets within their organization. Alternatively, you may look to modernize applications that are core to your customer experience or operational experience and where you need to stay really competitive in the market. And the underlying need here typically tends to be application agility and application development productivity. Now, this can be achieved by using fully managed platform as a service or containerized application and database models in the cloud. Now, the cloud adoption framework is proven guidance that is designed to help your organization create and implement the business and technology strategies necessary to succeed in the cloud. Now, taking a holistic approach before, during, and after the move will not only help in navigating the journey successfully, but also help ensure that your organization realizes new benefits, including improved efficiency, agility, and scale once your workloads are running in the cloud. And when it comes to the workload level, you must think about how your organization architects your workloads in a way that is operationally sound while still achieving your technical performance goals. Now, this guidance comes in the Azure well-architected framework that helps with reliability, cost optimization, operational excellence, performance efficiency, and security for your workloads. So we always guide customers to address each of the 5 pillars of the well-architected framework to ensure a proper balance for their workloads so as to produce a high-quality, stable, and efficient cloud architecture. Next, let's now touch on Azure Migrate, which is our automation toolset. So Azure Migrate is our free migration and modernization tool that helps simplify and automate your move. Now, you can use Azure Migrate to discover your on-premises workloads, assess them for cloud readiness, cost them along with target SKU recommendations on Azure. You can use Azure Migrate to migrate a variety of workloads, including Windows Server, SQL Server, Linux, .NET apps, and so on, to a variety of Azure IaaS, PaaS, and even container services like Kubernetes. And where needed, you can also access third-party partner and ISV tools in this extensible tool. You also have the capability to track and manage your migration and modernization progress from start to finish using a centralized dashboard. And then on the right side of the slide are a set of recent capabilities and features we released in Azure Migrate. First, The TCO or business case feature during assessment phase allows you to estimate your cost savings by moving to Azure. Right? We'll cover more details on this feature shortly. Next, CPU benchmarking that we released recently will help you during assessments and help you optimize the number and the types of processor cores that your workloads will need on Azure, thus resulting in higher energy savings, for example. Right? Next, it's critical to migrate your workloads securely. To this end, Azure Migrate supports Express Route for a secure connection between your premises and the Azure portal. This additional benefit of a dedicated connection helps you with a higher bandwidth and lower latency, which ultimately supports you with faster migrations. Next, discovery and assessment of different SQL Server deployments, such as standalone and always-on failover cluster instances for migration to Azure SQL, be it IaaS, or managed instance, or fully managed hyperscale. On the application side, we can now discover and assess ASP.NET and Java web applications targeted at Azure App Service. And finally, Azure Migrate also supports modernization of ASP.NET web apps to Azure Kubernetes Service. These are just a variety of new investments that we've recently made in Azure Migrate. Now let's double-click into the Azure Migrate TCO/business case capability. This is a new capability. It's easy and intuitive. It allows you to create insightful business case proposals with financial analysis, like ROI and TCO analysis, to help justify your move to Azure. Right? Resource utilization and CPU benchmarks on Azure are factored in to right-size your resources prior to the move. Also, discounts such as Azure Hybrid Benefit, reserved instances, Azure Savings Plan are all considered in estimating the optimal costs for your deployments. Right? And finally, the flexibility to customize your business case assumptions and run what-if analysis allows you to quickly get a comprehensive view of the scenarios and cost savings in Azure. Now, I'd like to invite my colleague, Rashi, to walk us through a great live demo so you can see the TCO business case capability firsthand. Rashi, over to you.
Thanks, Anand. Hi, everyone. I'm Rashi Joshi. As you're thinking about your cloud migration and modernization, I'm sure these are some of the questions that do pop up in your mind. In the next section that we're going to cover, we'll try to answer some of these questions. With this, let's quickly move on to the demo. So to get started, all you need is an Azure subscription. You can use a free trial subscription or a paid one. You need to go to Azure portal and search for Azure Migrate. I'll click on Servers, Database, and Web Apps here. The first step before you are able to build a business case is to discover what's running in your on-premises data center. As you can see, I've already done the discovery and I have a couple of servers running SQL and a couple of servers running .NET Web Apps. I've let this discovery run for more than 24 hours so that Azure Migrate has enough data points to give me a high confidence, right-sized recommendations in Azure. I'll click on Build Business Case, and here I just need to give a couple of inputs to get started. I'll give this business case a name. I'll choose a target location in Azure. The next step is to choose a migration strategy. I'll leave it to default and let Azure recommend what approach is there to minimize my cost. I can also choose to migrate everything to IaaS or modernize to PaaS as much as possible. The next thing I have to choose is what kind of savings option I want to be applied in this business case. If you have relatively stable workloads, you should ideally go with the reserved instances. But if you want more flexibility and you want more cost optimizations for more dynamic workloads, you could go with reserved instances plus Azure Savings Plan. Next, I can specify any discount percentage that I might have and click on Build Business Case. It'll take a couple of minutes and the business case will get created. This is what the business case looks like once created. As you see, this overview blade is like an executive summary of why to move to Azure. The first card you see here is a steady state TCO comparison of what your on-premises probably looks like and what it could look like in Azure. Here in this case, I can see around 66% steady state savings. Now, realistically, we know that customers don't migrate everything on a single day. You take a couple of years to migrate and come to Azure. So the second card here shows a more realistic year-on-year picture of your migration. If you see in this case, the net cash flow is coming out to be positive by 2026. And this is primarily because we're moving from a CapEx heavy model to an OpEx model. Once you've established that Azure, it's better off to move to Azure than on-prem. On this card, you see the unique benefits that Azure provides. So you can see savings with Azure Hybrid Benefits by bringing your Windows and SQL Server licenses. We'll soon add extended security updates savings in this section as well. After that, you can see discovery insights. So based on all the resource utilization data, we recommend what is really ideal for cloud, what could be decommissioned. Now, to understand these cost numbers a little more, I'll go to the on-prem versus Azure card here. So this basically shows or tells me the real insights of where I'm actually saving when I'm moving to Azure. I can also drill down into the Azure IaaS and Azure PaaS reports. So it basically tells me everything that the business case is recommending me to take to Azure IaaS. What does the cost split looks like? What does it look like with and without Azure Hybrid Benefits? As we used Azure Savings Plan, what does my 3-year Azure Savings Plan cost looks like? And what are the recommended VM family storage type in this case? Similarly, I can see this for Azure PaaS as well. In this case, you see it's being recommended to move all my .NET web apps to Azure App Service. Now, we do understand how important creating what-if customizations are in while you're creating business cases or business proposals. So you can go to edit assumptions and you can edit the assumptions used to calculate the Azure cost, as well as the benchmarks used in the on-premises cost assumptions. Now, once you've done all of this and you're satisfied with the result, you can actually export the business case into an XLSX file, and you can share that with different stakeholders and get their buy-ins. Now, we're continuously adding more features in this capability. Soon, you will be also able to create this business case for servers and workloads running in Hyper-V, on bare metal and other clouds. You could also be able to import your server inventory without having the need to deploy an appliance and perform this business case. We're also planning to add SQL HADR scenarios to make this business case more comprehensive and more accurate. Now, as we saw in this demo, it's pretty easy to create or build the business case. You can use it on your existing Azure Migrate projects or create a new Azure Migrate project today to build business cases. You can understand how it looks like when you move from on-prem to Azure. How does your short-term and long-term savings look like? What unique value Azure brings in? And with this, we reach the end of the demo. I would highly recommend you go back and create your first business case today. Now, let's look at how can you make your migrations even more secure. So with Azure Migrate, you can choose to securely use all the capabilities without traversing any public networks using the private endpoint connectivity. This feature is available for public as well as government cloud geographies, and you can connect privately and securely to Azure Migrate using the Azure Express Route private peering or a site-to-site VPN connection, all using Private Link. With this, I'll hand it over to you, Anand.
Thank you, Rashi. It was amazing to see how Azure Migrate can help our customers save money by helping them build a comprehensive business case. Now, if your project requires expert assistance and support, Azure Migration and Modernization Program is your answer. Let's now touch on it some more. AMP provides prescriptive step-by-step guidance with the Azure Cloud Adoption Framework and well-architected framework. From assessments to migration and modernization planning to execution and ongoing governance, the works. AMP has incentives and offer to help offset your migration costs and also help you save money as you test out your migration projects. We provide skilling in AMP to help equip your organization with the technical competencies so that they can be successful during and after the move. AMP provides step-by-step guidance throughout your project from Azure specialized partners. AMP also enables access to Azure engineers who can provide expert assistance during your project. And as previously highlighted, we also provide free tooling with Azure Migrate as part of AMP. And given the growing importance of energy and sustainability, AMP also helps forward your sustainability outcomes. In fact, our 2020 Environmental Sustainability Report shows that you can achieve up to 93% more energy efficiency and up to 98% more carbon efficiency by moving to the cloud versus staying on premises. Ultimately, our goal with AMP is to ensure you can move to Azure confidently and cost-effectively with the right kind of expert help and support at each step of your journey. I'd love to share some feedback from Tom, who recently completed a migration project with assistance from AMP. Tom's homegrown IT infrastructure could no longer handle the capacity needs required to meet their growing customer demand. So Tom needed a cloud solution that could help with a massive migration and overhaul while not affecting real-time app performance. They needed the support necessary to ensure proper evaluation, strategy, and execution of their migrations. They turned to AMP. Hans, who's the director of applications at Tom, shares that Azure helped us achieve seamless scalability and flexibility, removed operational downtime, and increased availability and reliability so we could meet our SLAs. Through the Azure Migration and Modernization Program, we were able to establish a predictable level of reliability with decreased downtime that helps us keep customer satisfaction high and maintain our brand reputation and brand equity. We love to continually hear the cloud value that AMP helps unlock for our customers. Let's take a look at another customer's experience with AMP, this time from the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission, who attribute the benefits of AMP as the catalyst that allowed for their successful move to the cloud.
FWC has about 3,400 employees, and we have a big volunteer staff as well, which is great. And we have about 1,000 sworn law enforcement officers, and they're covering the entire state. It's critical that we have our technology ready for them when they need us. They might be the only one responding in a 100-mile radius in the middle of a swamp, and they do get in danger sometimes, and we have to be able to know where they are, ping them, find them, and help them. We do everything from saving manatees to saving lives. In 2019, the Florida legislature passed what is commonly known as the Cloud Bill, which mandates state agencies to move their infrastructures from on-premises to cloud services. We had to research the different cloud providers to see who would provide us the services that we need. And the choice for us was Microsoft. The AMP program was useful for FWC because not only did Microsoft help us with the migration, we didn't have to spend $1. It was all funded through Microsoft. AirNet is a Microsoft Gold partner that we got through Microsoft to help us with our migration journey to the cloud. And they were integral to our success because they not only brought in a project manager, we had a statement of work, they tracked milestones. Microsoft has a program called the Enterprise Skills Initiative, and they come in and assess the skill set of every one of your technicians. They build a training program tailored to each technician to bring our technician skill set up to speed. We're able to do more with less now because we're able to optimize our resources. So I feel good knowing that we've made this journey to migrate into Microsoft Azure to make sure that future generations are going to have these opportunities to hunt. They're going to have these opportunities to fish. They're going to have biologists that can go in and save and recreate coral and fight invasive species and do the things that we need to do to make sure we have a good environment for future generations.
It's always so awesome to hear the positive experience our customers have with AMP. We are inspired and energized by the outcomes our customers can achieve with help from AMP. Now, AMP supports a wide variety of workloads to meet all of your migration and modernization needs. This includes support for infrastructure and database migration to optimize costs and ensure business continuity and disaster recovery. AMP supports virtual desktop with Azure Virtual Desktop to meet the ever-growing demands to support remote employee productivity, regardless of location or proximity. AMP supports application and data modernization projects with fully managed services on Azure. And then finally, migration of your SAP infrastructure is also supported in AMP. Now, all of this is done on top of Azure's industry-leading security capabilities. So you have a strong foundation, ensuring every step of your journey is safe and secure. We look forward to seeing you leverage these investments for your next migration or modernization project. Be sure to reach out to your Azure sales rep to discuss next steps. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you found this session informative and helpful as you consider next steps in your cloud migration journey. We wish you all the very best in your migration initiatives. Please let us know how we can help. Thank you again.